This song is about what it means to be human. Let me explain what I mean by that. Sometimes people ask me about my music and the song I Am Light in particular, and they say, isn't it unrealistic to say I am light? This song I Am Light is not saying you don't have any issues. It's saying that there's a difference in identifying with your pain and identifying as your pain, as your pain, as your pain.
The things my family did. I am not the voices in my head. I am not the pieces of the brokenness inside. I am light. And I am light. Yeah. I am light, I am light. 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 Crystal. I'm not the mistakes that I have made, or any of the things that cause me pain. I am not the pieces of the dream I left behind. I am light. I am light. I am light. I am light. I am light, 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 I am light. Yeah. I am alive. I am alive. I am alive. I am alive. I am light. I am light. I am light. I am
Habaragandi, Habaragandi, Habaragandi. How are y'all doing? How y'all doing? Let me do some technical support real quick. There we go. I'll be loud in my own ears. And so, you know, I said, let me cut me down because I don't need to hear me. I need to hear the song so I know it's ending. But welcome to another experience of Alkebulan Inspirational Sunday. Yes, we have gone through the Advent season. We've experienced, we went through Hanukkah. We just had Christmas. And now we are walking into the experience of Kwanzaa, the experience of the Nguzu Saba, those seven principles of Kwanzaa, taking that spiritual awareness that we were able to gain and add it to our cultural, traditional, and experience in life as we move forward through COVID. We still here. We got the variants hitting. Um, how are we making our adjustments and our changes in our lifestyle so that we can be a part of the rebuilding of our communities after this particular ordeal of a pandemic is over. Mm. Or maybe we can access the power, presence, and power of God as a people, even though we might be in cyberspace connecting with one another, and find a way to come together and be that light. Wow. Because I know at the beginning of COVID, we were dealing with that, some serious social injustice, and not even just at the beginning of COVID, through the whole life experience here in the States, we're always experiencing injustice. And until we can actually have control of the judicial system or our own judicial system, we're always going to be experiencing that level of injustice. So being able to, again, if you listen to the song, not be a product of your pain, right? But being able to be a product of whatever is that hope, that faith that you're journeying out of. I've experienced it, but I'm not a product of it. I'm going to grow past it, and I'm going to find who God has called me to be. And so, in Kwanzaa, I know Kwanzaa does not allow us to, or it halts in the expression of spiritual awareness, but that's not how we take it. Now, so we're going as we move forward in that, we want to make sure that again, I am not the expert. I am what you call the Malakio. So if you've been here, if you've been at the African Speaks or AfriStream, an African history class and spirituality class, I'll let you know that the Malakio in our community, Swahili, means seeker. We're seeking truth, knowledge, wisdom, understanding. We seeking our divine identity so that we can be better on this earth in reference to what God would have us do as a people. And Kwanzaa aids to that, right? But before we continue, we want to let everyone know, if you are watching us on Facebook, please like, comment, share. This needs to be an experience that motivates, moves, and grows. And so let us support the good word coming out of our community by like, commenting, and share. And I always try to respond, to those who like, comment, and share or have something to say. Let's do it. And then if you're watching us on Facebook or not Facebook, but YouTube, or watching the website, please click it, go to the subscribe, hit subscribe, and hit the bell, because we have multitudes of programs that we want to make sure that you don't miss. Now, also, go out to the world of Akibaland, the website. Please go to the website, take a look at it, see what's there. Let us know, any improvements. Oh, that's the shop page where you can buy the t-shirts, right? But we're gonna go back out here to the home page. Come on, the future of our communities are in the hearts and minds of our youth. Yes, we have to make sure that they live in a space that is pure light, so they can grow to the fullness of who they are. And again, Kwanzaa leads us to that. We also want you to be on the lookout for the email that goes out. It'll go out tomorrow, where we are asking individuals to come into the Kibaland Inspirational Sunday. Right, the new year is coming. We said we're gonna fill this up. We're gonna have these conversations, these discussions. We're gonna see if we can get the grandparents first, the parents second, then the kids, and then we're gonna see where it goes from there. But if you would like to be a part of that audience, please join the Zoom call by hitting me up via email, info@worldsofakeyblend.org. I'll be looking at the email today, making sure, see who's ready, and then hitting people back and prepping them and sending the topics that we'll be discussing at that particular time, and having them come in and enjoy. And also, please be on the lookout for all of our other programs, and then support all our programs. Sunday 12. We had, of course, I took a break for Christmas. Um, and so I enjoyed my Christmas experience. So we didn't have African history class and African spirituality class. Um, Please, or did we do after stream? Nope, because I was driving around um, Atlanta dropping off COVID testing packets. Yeah, they had it was just a shortage. We had some individuals who had a whole family scare. And so I had to drive around, so we missed out on Thursday. But we want to make sure that and that's the holiday weekend. I wasn't letting anybody go through the holiday and them not experiencing or not knowing if they were sick and need to take care of themselves. But we want to make sure you support all of what we have coming into World of Akibaland. And again, I'm not the expert. I am the Malakio, but I would like for you to know that everything that we talk about, everything we do supports the covenant promise that we have in God. Everything. There's nothing that we don't deal with, no issue, no conversation that does not point to our relationship and connection to the Creator, and the fact that He will be our God and He will be our people. And with that said, we understand that it is always based off of relationships. That's key. That's key to everything we do and who we are. It is based off of relationships. How and then you can tell a people a people who have a great relationship with God, not by the individual person's life, but how the people stick together. Mm, right? How the people are sticking together, how a people relates to God. Right? So that pours into what? The Kwanzaa principle of the day. When I say Habara Gandhi, Habara Gandhi, Habara Gandhi, that's like, what's the news? What's the news? What's the news? You should be at home yelling, Umoja, 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 and that's it. Right. And so we want to make sure that we look at our relationships, because we are in our focus. We have not changed. We are working on the rise of the African, that Pan African social media movement, a social media Pan African movement where we are trying to duplicate Garvey's experience, where he was able to connect Black people. And since then, there has not been another movement that matches it. Not at all. Nowhere close. Nowhere close. And he didn't have Kwanzaa. Mm, say it again. He didn't have Kwanzaa. He didn't have social media where we can connect and talk to people instantly. They was producing newspapers, and he had to gather people physically. They didn't have a pandemic either, but mm, let me take that back. Revelation, they did have a pandemic. It's called racism. Woo! They had a pandemic called racism, and you always had to be careful how you moved around the country, or the globe for that matter. Trying to bring 6 million, 9 million, 6 to 9 million people together under one umbrella. This is the rise of the African, and we seek to do that via cyberspace. And as we continue to move beyond this COVID experience, we're going to do that physically as well. Yeah, we work. We got some big things popping next year. But I'm hoping, as you finished Advent, as you walked in Christmas, the holiday season, that you were able to get or celebrate the God in you. I'm hoping that you were able to celebrate a bigger version of your divine self. Ooh, yeah. Stop, hold it. We knew that that's what we were looking for. And so, was this Christmas different when you heard the word this Christmas, I'll be, and it was something different for you? Did you receive something different this season? where your sense of your divine self was even more clear in your own eyes, and the divine self that you see in other people was more clear? Did you see it? Because if you did, then this experience of Kwanzaa will be completely different. What? This experience of Kwanzaa would be completely different, because we're going to sit down and say, you when you're looking at your defined self and you're coming into this place and you're dealing with the Nguzu Saba. Now we're going to, we're going to try to move through this, because I have a clip that it breaks it down academically. It breaks Kwanzaa down academically. I was even trying to wonder, well, how was I going to do a service in Kwanzaa at the same time? And normally I digress, because we have such a large community, and we have such a large experience of Kwanzaa. In Atlanta, we usually COVID has stopped that, but we usually have one of the, if not the largest, Kwanzaa celebration in the city. And it's always covered by the news. Yes. They come out, write articles, and see it. They called us this year, and we had to tell them, yeah, we're not having a physical Kwanzaa. So there's no need to come out and see what black folks are doing for black folks. Yeah, so that kind of hurt, right? And so, however, via cyberspace, we got to, see if we can add to that. So I'll check to see if there's any places going throughout the week. I'll make another call to see if maybe we changed our minds. But if you came off the holiday season with an even more understanding of your divine self, celebrating the birth of your awareness, that greater awareness of the God in you, you walk into Kwanzaa, and it's a whole different experience, because Kwanzaa's set up is oh, wait, let me drop it right here. Kwanzaa is set up to focus on the observances of what makes community. What makes us a greater community with our culture, our heritage, tradition, and these seven principles. And so the first one is unity, because without unity, there's nothing we can do. Wow. There is nothing we can do as a people if unity does not exist. But we want to sit down and say, okay, unifying on what level? Which is the question. Let me drop that, because we got it. Unifying on what level? And so the thought was unity in the knowing is our topic of the day. Unity in the knowing. In the knowing of what, you might say? If you don't understand the word the knowing, you need to come to African spirituality class. Trust me. All this wisdom, this ancient wisdom that we're delivering here at the World of Akibaland, and the different levels of the world of Akibaland, where the African speakers are part of the world of Akibaland. AfriStream, which is the global news, is a part of the world of Akibaland. African spirituality is a part of the world of Akibaland. African history is a part of the world of Akibaland. There's going to be, and then there's other elements in there in terms of relationships, finances, you name it, technology, all that is a part of the world of Akibaland. But we want to know, if you don't know what the knowing is, we're going to get into that. But we understand that the unity on how many levels, on what levels does that connect with and we talk about from your neighborhood, to your, and I know if you ever watch the Get Down, and says you got to control your corner, control your block, run your neighborhood. You got to grow in a succession. So you go from your corner, your block, your neighborhood, unify that, be in that experience, cultivate those areas, and then you go from the unity of your neighborhood, your corner, your neighborhood, your block, to the point where you got a town. You know what I'm saying? So that might be for us in Atlanta, you buy East Point, College Park, Decatur, Marietta. I was gonna say Marietta more better, but because my family was there. We was in College Park first, and then we moved to Marietta, and then I moved down to the West End, right? East Point, yes. Oakland City. We can shout it out. We can definitely shout it out. Stone Mountain. But you got to get your city, and then your state. The presence that you have in your state as a people, it has to grow. It has to grow until you get to the point where you're dealing with identity. When you're talking about, if your awareness of your divine self increase, then can you see that awareness in now in the Pan-African and African or the black experience in your country? And then we move slowly toward that diaspora, where we talking about unity in a experience of a global lifestyle for African people all over, people of African descent all over. That's an experience that we looking for. This is what we're trying to grow to. Why? Because this is what God has called us to be. When you talk about that covenant promise, when you talk about that covenant promise, that sense of relationship. Why? Because we're looking for the rise of the African. And we know that with that, because you have some individuals, and they said, and we'll get to that clip. You have individuals who, I don't celebrate Christmas. You should, not because of Christianity, but because the vibration of love is there. I celebrate it because we rewrote the whole framework of what being a Christian mean, and added into it the depths of ancient African wisdom. Wow, culture and everything. Why? Because Christianity is a manifestation of ancient wisdom. It depends on how you look at it, right? So we can take it all in. We take it all in. When I sit there and mention Hanukkah to you, I still don't know a Christian church that celebrates Hanukkah. How could you not? If it's a part of the history book we call the Bible. But then we see how Kwanzaa fits into this experience, right? How Kwanzaa fits into the experience. And we take a look at the first day, which is unity. Why? Because we know in our history, we have achieved tons of things in the face of unity. When you look at our plight as a people here, there has been tons and tons of things that we've achieved as a people for the sake of unity. That's current. That's Black Lives Matter group. The other one was Civil Rights Movement of Jermo Jabebe Ajman, which is mentor. I spent a few days with listening to him every now and then. A lot of us have spent more time, and so y'all should be doing so much more than where we at. But you understand what unity means, but you can't get there if you don't see your divine self, and that's why it's important. Because you'll go from there to sit down and say, look at the things as a people of what we created as a people, what we've been through, what we've endured as a people. And you'll get to that point where we talked about this during the African Speaks last week. Our numbers as a people: Brazil, 82 million; United States, 46 million plus; Haiti, 11 million; Mexico was like 6.3 million Africans, people of African descent. I was like, what? Venezuela is in the top 5. I was like, really? 5 million. We cannot focus on the concept of unity in the midst of Kwanzaa without understanding us in the knowing. Now, one of the things that I can sit down and say is, and we're going to start walking through that we've done everything from a place of unity, culture, and heritage. We've created things tens of thousands of years ago with societies that have existed for 5,000 years. Wow. What? We only been here 400. We had African cities that existed for thousands of years, empires, kingdoms that existed for 5,000 years, thousands of years, where we were the center of the earth, our heritage, culture, and who we are. So why is it that we don't embrace it? And so Kwanzaa was created for us to get back to that, to tap into that, to reach out for that, and try to duplicate that on a different scale when it comes to dealing with who we are as a people. Now, I have something set. Let me see if I can get this ready. where we start dealing with the knowing. Let me redo this. Now, with this setup, I got two computers running, right? So this is not a pre-recorded video. This is a video that is live online. And the reason why I selected this video before we start talking about, as we talk about the knowing, there's a difference between, there was an era of knowing and an era of belief. Right now, we live in the state of belief, where I believe this, I believe that. But as Africans, we existed in the knowing, and these are different areas of Africa. And the reason why I'm showing you the scenery of Africa as we continue to grow and go, and I don't know how loud this music is, and because I want to make sure you can hear me. Let me see. Let me find it where it's playing. Right. Okay, so it's not too loud. Right. It's because in the seeing of nature, you see the harmony of God, the connection of God. You know, the ecosystem, how it balanced. When you look at that, you know that no man was able to create that. No man can create the birds hovering over the water to find the fish that feeds them. The water where the fish can dive, and and there's a whole life under the water. Giraffe's neck so tall. Why? Because I'm eating foliage. And so I don't have to bend down to eat. I can just lean up. There are places in Africa that makes you realize, where you get to a point where you know God exists. You live in the knowing by what you see. God exists. Because no man could do that. Where did this happen and how does it continue? God exists. The creator exists. Africans didn't say, well, this is what I believe. No, they function from a state of the knowing. There's some people who say that Africa is so beautiful, they believe that if God had a place to live, it would be here. Why? Because you just got to see it. It's that breathtaking when you just take a look. That's the knowing, that feeling of versus believing. Believing somebody has to tell you something and you say, okay, you believe what I just said? Do you believe what I just said? But when you live in a place that is a balance of nature, just the way it is, there is no way that there is not a spiritual connection with the ground you stand on. The ground is sacred. Mother, that's why the connection to the motherland. It is in us, innate, when you talk about the sacredness. When you connect or when you go visit or you look at pictures, it's just that beautiful. It is where we came from. And so it's not somebody had to convince us that we are a people and we need to share and relate and interact. Why? Because we lived it, we came out of an environment where the ecosystem was in harmony. This is why you can't talk about unity without an experience of the knowing. Because God created all life to exist in harmony. You have some things that are predators, yes. And you have those who are not. You have those who feed on meat, those who feed on, but it's a cycle of life that continues, not destroys. There's no genocide. There is no systematic oppression. That is the harmony of nature. It is not the strong will survive. Nature, God will survive, because everything is God. And that's another thing that Africans were able to, in African spirituality, that you're able to understand when you're in these experiences. Everything is the creator. The dirt, the rocks, the dust, the sand, the trees, the clouds, the sky, the water, the beauty of each animal, and its mastery of itself. Everything is divine. You cannot look at unity without the knowing. We talk about the principles of Kwanzaa. Step into the principles now with the greatest sense of self. In African spirituality, Africans said that they knew that there was nothing separate from God, so everything is sacred. Even the relationship we have with one another, That is the prime relationship. So if we're trying to reach something, let us reach the harmony in which we were created in. Modern civilization pulls us away from that sense of harmony. It's that sense of disconnection because of how it is governed. Now, did we have governing bodies? Yes. Did we have forced spirituality? No. But we had culture that guided us to the understanding that we knew we are all sacred and we are all to treat each other as such. And that's how we should be in function. So as we endure or in this journey of going from and what is our holy season. And the holy season doesn't end with Christmas; it goes all the way to Pentecost season. So let's begin to enjoy it. And then when you get into Kwanzaa and you begin to celebrate the culture, the heritage, everything and when we start saying, when I play this thing, imagine this video. Imagine the fact that we as a people gave life to the planet. We gave culture to the planet. We gave heritage to the planet. That's why it's open for everybody to enjoy and experience. Because you need to get back to what created life or society, connection, that relationship. And then you could probably understand the jealousy that created the experience of slavery and colonialization. Because of where we came and how royal we are as a people, how royal we it is as a culture, how to embrace life as one. God is that oneness. If you was listening to last week, we talked about how the atom is the smallest particle and has those and we define the Trinity as the atom being that first Trinity, the proton, neutron, and the electron, and the energy that makes the electron spin around the nucleus, that energy being God. And it is in all things. The unity of God is the unity that a people should show in order to be a people. Because when you can get that unity, we create some beautiful things. And so we want to be able to have that experience in modern society. Modern society, people say, let's get off the grid. Or how about this? Can we control the grid? Can we create the grid for ourselves in an experience of unity that is based out of the knowing? Understanding that we are God's people. Period. I see you, my sister. How you doing? How you doing? And that's important, you know. Moyo, and I appreciate you, Moyo, for she always tuning in, right? I said, we had the experience of unity for some years, my sister, being family without having to be family, but knowing that we family. Unity. It erases all lines, all separations. But this is who we are. And so go into Kwanzaa, because a lot of people will go into it and say, well, I'm not religious. I'm not. No, we religious. We spiritual. We woke. We enlightened. Okay? We seek wisdom. You want to name it? It's exactly who we are, because God is all things and all things is God. It is a unification of being. Woo. More than just working together. But and if we don't take the knowing into Kwanzaa, we're going to miss it. We won't get to come out at that New Year 7 days. We won't get to come and celebrate that new year in that newness of who we are. So we have to do Kwanzaa in the knowing, unity in the knowing, everything in the knowing. And we're going to start with seeing that we are one people unto God. We are one people unto God. Spiritual culture, tradition, heritage. Kwanzaa helps us, pulls us back in it, helps us celebrate it, helps us embrace it. But when we do it in the knowing, it becomes a spiritual moment. It becomes a celebration of who we were as a people in God. Now, what I'll do is I'm gonna play a video of the foundation of Kwanzaa, and they will speak with Kwanzaa outside the spiritual power of ancient wisdom, and that is wrong because as we go, we evolve in our understanding of how we should do things to free ourselves as a people from operant condition and systematic racism. It's a process. Look at that. Come on. How can you not seek to connect the way the world connects to the nature connects to itself? Man, how could you not want to experience that in your everyday life? Not as a vision, but as a being that I am unified with life. Why? Because everything living in the knowing, everything is God. Come on. When you see me, I want you to see the beauty of the Creator, the naturalness of the Creator, the creativity of the Creator, the intelligence of the Creator. You got it, the purpose of the Creator. Come on. The cooperative economics or the economics, when you look at nature, it's called the cooperative economics of the Creator, where everything is shared and in balance. Whoa. When you see me, I want you to see that. When we experience each other, I want us to experience the unification of that. That's not a place you go. That is the place you are. Woo. When you're in balance with God, that's unity. Yes, I am those lands. I am those waters. I am those trees. I am those rocks. I am that the dirt. We clay. I am the dirt. You hear me? I am those animals. I am every man. I am every woman. I am completely unified in life because it is a part of my being. Yes. Why? It is out of an understanding that comes from my culture. It is an out of understanding that comes from my tradition. It is out of the understanding that comes from my heritage, my knowing that I'm unified in all things. Because in African spirituality, we are all of God. That's why the master teacher said, I and the Father are one. Ain't that something? There's I think it was a Shanti community who says, you don't teach a child about the presence of God. Why? Because it's innate. It's a part of who we are. It's a part of who we are. Society keeps us separate. So let's break away from society and find yourself in harmony with all God's creation. And let's come together as a people and build real community. That's what World of Alkebulan is set out to do. That's who we are. And for those who are new to Kwanzaa and not understanding, now again, if you want to get that knowing part, make sure you show up to African spirituality class. We're gonna get that. You want to get more of this history, make sure you show up to African spirituality class. All right, and we're gonna get that. Okay, so Habar Gandhi, Habar Gandhi, Habar Gandhi to everybody. Moja, Moja, Moja. Unity, unity, unity. Let's take a look how they technically define Kwanzaa. But let's also focus on how do we evolve it so we can be God's people in the knowing. Let's look.
American professor of Pan-African Studies at the California State University at Long Beach, established Kwanzaa in 1966 during the aftermath of the Watts Riot and the Black Freedom Movement. Kwanzaa is a non-religious, non-political African-American holiday that celebrates family, community, and culture, and commemorates the African heritage of Black Americans whose ethnic history was stripped away by the slave trade. The holiday also gave African Americans an alternative to the Christmas holiday and an opportunity to celebrate themselves and their history rather than imitate the dominant society's practice. Professor Karinga believed that Christianity was a white religion that black people should shun. But as Kwanzaa gained mainstream acceptance, Professor Karinga changed his position so that practicing Christians would not be alienated. As stated in the 1997 book, Kwanzaa, A Celebration of Family, Community, and Culture, Dr. Karinga said Kwanzaa was not created to give people an alternative to their own religion or religious holidays, but to reaffirm and restore our rootedness in African culture. So Kwanzaa is a cultural rather than a religious holiday and can be celebrated regardless of a person's faith tradition. Many African Americans who celebrate Kwanzaa do so in addition to observing Christmas. Kwanzaa's creation also underscores the central premise that you must have a cultural revolution before the violent revolution. The Cultural Revolution gives identity, purpose, and direction. The name Kwanzaa derives from the Swahili phrase Matunda ya Kwanzaa, meaning first fruits. First fruit festivals existed in southern Africa and celebrated in December and January with the southern solstice. The celebration dates back to ancient Egypt and Nubia. Professor Karinga chose Swahili as the language of the festivities because it is a Pan-African language, not necessarily defined by a particular region or tribe. Also, Professor Karinga was particularly inspired by an account he read of the Zulu festival Nkosi Wosalawa. He decided to spell the holiday's name with an additional A to have a symbolic 7-letter. Now that we have a brief history lesson on Kwanzaa, let us talk about the 6 exciting facts you might didn't know about the holiday. Number 1, Kwanzaa centers around 7 principles. The 7 days of Kwanzaa are a time of celebration, meditation, and recommitment. The focus is on the Nguzo Saba, or 7 principles. On each of the 7 nights, the family gathers near a table containing 7 Kwanzaa symbols. A child lights one of the candles on a kinara or candelabra. On the first day, the black candle in the center is lit, followed by alternating the red candle on the left and the green candle on the right. After lighting the candle, the family discusses one of the Nguzo Saba's principles. Individuals are encouraged to reflect on the principles throughout the holiday and to embrace them in their own lives. An African feast called the Karamu is traditionally held on December the 31st. The Nguzo Saba are central to the celebration of Kwanzaa and to the African-centered values that embrace the importance of celebrating one's own culture through meaningful, constant remembrance and connection to the ancestors. The Nguzo Saba emerged from Kawada philosophy, which evaluates the best of African thought and practice. Now that we have a better understanding of the Nguzo Saba, or the 7 principles, let's discuss each principle that represent a different day of Kwanzaa. The first principle will be Umoja, or unity. Umoja stresses the importance of togetherness for the family and the community, which is reflected in the African proverb, I am because we are. We believe that everyone in our community is responsible for one another and that by working together, we will achieve great things. The second principle is Kujichagulia, or self-determination. That one may define themselves for themselves. It isn't just about you or me, it's about us, our community, and how we celebrate our culture and independently use our resources to self-determine our future. The third principle would be Ojima, or collective work and responsibility. This means that one's successes are shared throughout the community and vice versa. We are collectively responsible for our achievements as well as our setbacks. We must build and maintain our community together and make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems and solve them together. Yes, to whom much is given, much is expected. The fourth principle will be Ojima'a, or cooperative economics. What this means is that sharing what one has with others to benefit everyone. It teaches us to support one another and to build businesses that benefit the whole community and help it thrive. The fifth principle will be Ni'a, or purpose. This is self-reflection and action and meaning. It's not enough just to have money. Yes, you can pay the bills, buy food and other things you want, but your life will have much more meaning if your money is used for a purpose. And the sixth principle will be kuumba, or creativity. Expressed in art, work, thoughts, and acts, creativity means to perform acts that leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited. And the seventh and last principle is imani, or faith. To believe with all our heart in our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, and the righteousness and victory of our struggle. The second interesting fact about Kwanzaa are its symbols. Kwanzaa has several key symbols that are used as artifacts to teach, remind, and inspire those in the application of Kwanzaa principles. The basic symbols used to celebrate Kwanzaa are: number one, vibunzi, or ear of corn. The vibunzi, or ear of corn, symbolizes fertility and nurturing during Kwanzaa. Thus, one ear is placed on an mkk for each child in the family. If there are no children in the home, two ears are still set on the mkk because each person is responsible for the children of the community. Africans are reminded that child rearing is communal or tribal affair that involves virtues of discipline, respect for others, compassion, and charity. The second symbol would be mazio, and they are the crops that represent African harvests and acknowledgement of productive labor. And the third symbol, as mentioned earlier, is mkk, and that is the Kwanzaa mat, which represent a foundation of our tradition and history. And the fourth symbol will be kinara. Kinara is the candle holder that represents continental Africans as our roots. And the fifth symbol will be muhindi. Muhindi is the corn that represents our children and our future. And the sixth symbol is Mishuma Asaba, is the group of seven candles that represent the Kwanzaa seven principles, Inguza Saba. And the seventh symbol is Kikambecha Omaja, is the unity cup, which represents the principle of unity as the basis of all Kwanzaa principles. And the eighth symbol is Zawadi, are gifts that represent the commitments made and kept. And the ninth symbol would be Bandera.
I think there was something wrong with the sound. I appreciate it, Kwame. That was a pre-recorded video, so it's not a live video, but you got to understand. And this is one of the things I'm going to talk about in reference to the statement about unity. He said the ancient African proverb, "I am because we are," and I remember, and before we conclude, I remember an experience I was having during one of the rituals we were having in our community, and the drums were playing, and I was losing myself in the vibrations that the community was creating, and you come in contact with the presence and power of the ancestors, of gods, the spirits, you name it. We in it, we feel it, and so we call the creator the great I am. And so they was saying, I am because we are. And I paused. And I couldn't say it no more. I couldn't say it because it didn't sound right anymore. Why? Because of I am because we are. But when you say I am, you're entering into the experience or the realm of God. The great I am. I am is not because we are. No. I am was existing before we are became even happened. We are as a people because of I am. I flipped it and found more meaning in the flip. We are because of the I am. And so when we talk about unity, we talk about Kwanzaa, we talk about culture, we talk about heritage, we can't talk about it without bringing the great I am inside the experience. The ancestors inside the experience, the spirits inside the experience. You cannot do it because then it becomes a head game and not a spirit game. Woo! Us learning our culture has to be more than just a head game. But like they said, you can't indulge in the spiritual, the physical, violent warfare of freeing yourself if you have not embraced the cultural warfare. Well, you can't do the cultural if you haven't embraced the spiritual warfare. That's where the battle is. And if we can get to the battle, the spiritual battle, and unify ourselves in spirit, then in mind and in body and in truth, then we know that we can have a life of unity. And with that, There is nothing as a people we can't produce. I appreciate you. I'll check that before. We'll probably do the video again. I'm gonna have to refix that. So I apologize for the technical difficulties on that one. Uh, but with that, again, we want to say Obara Gandhi. And hopefully, in this experience, in these next 7 days, and you go through these principles of each day, I will see whether or not I'm going to be inspired to do each principle each day, and then it won't be long, won't be an hour, be good 15 minutes, maybe half hour. We'll see. We let the spirit carry it. How's that? We'll see what the spirit says. Um, I will contact the individuals in my community to see if we doing anything on the uh, Kwanzaa principles this year. We did every day last year, but of course COVID has pulled, yanked, and tugged at the community. But and this is why I tell you it has to be something that is in the spirit. Because if you allow a pandemic to get in between community, family, and people, then the spirit wasn't there in the first place. I gotta see you. No, I don't have to see you. I really don't have to see you. I tell people, yeah, I don't have to see you. I have to feel you though. I have to feel you. Let me call you. Let's do prayer. Let's meditate at the same time. This is why in Islam, everybody's meditating and praying 7 times a day at the same time. Why? Because we can feel the vibrations of each other. That's why for us, the Christmas season is important because of the vibration that's there. We know that the birth of Jesus, in terms of Christmas, has been commercialized, and it ain't even his birthday month. But the vibrations that's created on behalf of that experience, we can tap into. So let us continue tapping into the experience of unity on a spiritual level and change the world. That is the rise of an African. That is the world of Alkebulan. And that is the African speaking. One love. Abar Gandhi.